staffers giving tax advice on how to set up a brothel with 13-year-old hookers. It has everything you could want, corruption and sleazy action at tax-funded organizations. It's got government ties, but nobody's covering that story. Why?
I don't even know about it. You've got me at a loss. I don't know.
Okay, stop.
Yeah.
I mean, how stunned were you?
Well, I am a simple guy, Glenn. You know, I read the paper, I go online, I listen, I watch. I love watching your show. I see Glenn Beck on Fox News doing the Acorn video of the day, the updates every day, and it gets worse and worse and worse. You get the 13-year-old hookers, and then you find out Acorn is the central player in the Community Reinvestment Act, profiting as our economy nosedives, and they were, like the termites in the basement eating up the foundation, and they got all our tax money, and they're investigating voter fraud on a massive scale, and they got Acorn convictions in multiple cities, and I'm sitting there wondering, well, I got to ask Charlie a fair question, because he's not the only one who's not reporting it. The other networks aren't reporting much either. And so I just thought, well, I'll ask him a fair question. I'll say, Charlie, why isn't anybody reporting that? When he answered, the way he answered, I looked at Roma, she looked at me, her mouth was wide open, my jaw had hit the console, and we looked at I can't believe he said that. We just could not believe he said it, because we talk with Charlie every week, Tuesdays with Charlie, and he's a decent, nice guy.
He is,
and I don't know that he has ever lied to me. So
I doubt he has. He is a decent man.
I don't think that he lied. I truly believe he just wasn't aware of the story, and the only way, and I can't read his heart. I don't know, but I truly believe it's an indication of the diminishing role of the evening news on networks, that the anchor is a guy who walks in, the work is all done, producers have done it all, and all he does is sit there and read.
Don, do you think that is because I don't think it's just the evening news that is out of touch. I think the mainstream media is no longer mainstream. It's no longer the fourth branch of government as a check and balance. It is just the fourth branch of government. I mean, that's all it is. It's become a propaganda machine where all of these people that say, hey, well, we were raised on the meat and potatoes of Watergate. No, they weren't. No, where are they? Where are they? Where are these journalists that are supposed to be that have told us for the last 10 years that they have a distrust, and that's what they're supposed to do? Distrust the government and hold their feet to the fire and go in and make them accountable. Where is that?
Well, the guys in the trench coats and the little press thing in the hat, they're supposed to have what I always thought was an adversarial relationship with anyone in power.
They don't.
And they don't. No, they become pals with them because they get treated really well. They get to fly on Air Force One, and they go on vacations with these people, and it's hard to be a hard-hitting skeptic when they put their arms around you and they say, hey, come on,
Let me ask you this, because you also followed it up with the Tea Party, and here's what Charlie Gibson said about the Tea Party movement.
Your face in the multitude that was marching in Washington, D.C. over the weekend.
The conservative Woodstock.
Weren't you holding a sign, marching, saying something down with the government, or wasn't that you?
I was up sailing in the waters of Maine this past weekend.
What a nice thing. Was it cold?
Purposely oblivious to all of this. It was exquisitely beautiful.
Stop.
Oblivious.
Purposely oblivious.
Yeah.
We had the University of Indiana. They have this computer program where they can count the number of bodies, in a picture.
Right.
1.7 million people is what the number that they came up with. 1.7 million. And a newscaster is saying, I'm purposely oblivious to 1.7. Let's say it was 400,000 people. 400,000 people on the mall that feel like they've lost their liberty and are about to lose their country. Is that something that a newscaster should be purposely oblivious to?
No. Previously, if there were a march on Washington, D.C., and it was just about any other group, a week prior, the network news would be talking about the upcoming march. And they go out and interview various people across the country. Well, why are you going to the march? And you're taking the kids. Oh, that's terrific. And what these are the signs you're making. Oh, isn't that fascinating? And for a week they'd be doing this build up. It would be like a promotion for the march. And then they'd be at the march. And then after the march they'd be doing wall to wall everything. This march was a surprise. Nobody, if you were watching network news, you didn't know that march was going to happen. And then when it did happen, it went by in the blink of an eye. And then when it was over, nothing. It didn't happen.
You know, Don, we're talking to Don Wade from WLS in Chicago, probably the best radio station in the country. Seriously, I mean, you know, it just is. I've been saying for a while that I think the paradigm is about to change in America. I haven't even known exactly what that meant. I just feel it in my gut that the paradigm is about to change. I'm beginning to feel that part of what that means is the mainstream media, the way we have always collected news, they don't even know it now. But when the mainstream media can completely ignore a march, when they can completely ignore Acorn, when they can completely ignore Van Jones, and yet Van Jones is forced out in the middle of the night, Acorn loses its funding, and there are a million people on the mall. I mean, what relevance does the quote-unquote mainstream media have anymore?
Well, they're shooting themselves in the foot, so to speak, because your coverage on Van Jones, by the way, Glenn, was unbelievable. I was glued to my TV watching your Van Jones coverage, and then you switch to the evening news, and there's nothing until he actually left, and then they do the short little mention, oh, by the way, Van Jones has resigned, and that was the end of that. But you're right. It is changing. People